Have you been spending your last 2 weeks working on the stretching and flexibility exercises that we've been discussing? We're going to be back with our guest who has extensive experience working with tour professionals to help you bring your game to another level. Welcome to Golf Tips. My name is Trevor Moore, teaching professional with Advantage Golf Academy down at Cottonwood Coulee Golf Course. And for the third week in a row, we have our special guest with us, Mr. Dustan Lang, physiotherapist at the Ridge Spine and Sports Center. Dustan, how you doing?
Good.
Now, you got a new stretch for us. Week 3, we're working our way up, and tell me a little bit about the stretch today.
Well, like I mentioned last segment, when we look at the backswing and the follow-through, there's two different ways of kind of getting there. And it's either going sideways or rotation. Because when you look at the 3 dimensions of movement, we can't go forward and back. And last week we talked about the sideways, and as we talked about earlier, there's usually a combination of doing a sideways and rotation movement. So we're going to tackle those 2 movements with 2 different stretches. So this week's stretch, what I'd have people do is you're going to have your hands kind of close together, like you're mimicking like you're being in your golf swing, and you're going to be in your golf stance. And what you're going to do is you'll go back in your backswing, and you're going to look down again like you're simulating a ball, and then you're going to go through your follow through, and you're going to continue going that back and forth.
So crossing the foot over and giving a good twist with the arms?
And by crossing the foot over, what that does is it forces the body to rotate as far as it possibly can. And when you're doing this as well with your arms, is sometimes people get too fixated on their feet, is when you're doing this exercise, it's really important to take your arms up and back as far as you possibly can, both directions, because again, that's going to help induce more rotation throughout the body along with the foot.
So what I see in this stretch versus last week's is a lot of similarity, but there's a big difference underlying in it, and that is the golf swing has both sort of a lateral movement and a rotation, and it seemed like last week was sort of the primary move was the lateral with a bit of rotation. This seems a little bit of lateral, but the primary move is the rotation. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And again, it kind of depends. Again, in your experience, you'll see people who have different swings. Some people tend to slide more, some people tend to rotate more. And if we can get people to move as versatile as possible, those 2 directions, they'll have less chance of injury and better chance of you helping them.
Oh, perfect. I love it. One of the things I feel in this stretch is when I get myself set up, I feel with my head anchored down, I really feel my body, I don't know if the word is resisting against my neck, but I'm really feeling a neck stretch in here. Is that something you would see happening in this stretch as well?
You bet. And part of the reason you feel the resistance is you're probably stiff in there. And you know, as we mentioned in the last segment as well, is when we're doing this exercise, golf involves a lot of neck rotation, but the thing that's tricky about golf is the head's not moving, the body's moving. And so last week when we did it, again, if it was a sideways movement, we're trying to induce some neck movement with that. With this one, we're trying to get as much rotation as we can throughout the body, but also in the neck as well. So it's a great exercise for loosening up the neck.
It's interesting because in the golf swing, one of the things we see very often is people struggle to stay in their posture. Turning in the golf swing, the neck almost becomes in the way, and they tend to lift up and get out of their posture because they can't turn underneath. So this is probably a great stretch for that piece.
Oh, absolutely. And the body's amazing that way. If it doesn't have mobility, it'll just bail. And a lot of times when it bails or compensates, it's not in a healthy way or in a productive way.
In the long run, it'll come back and catch you. And injuries probably become a big part of that equation.
And one of the first things we have to do is correct those compensatory movements, and then you'll have less chance of injury.
Dustan, thanks for coming out. It's been a ton of fun, and these exercises will be very helpful. We had a lot of fun on this shoot. I think you would agree. Enjoy the outtakes. All right. Ready to roll? Dustan Lang, physiotherapist who works with tour professionals. Let's bring it in. We don't know what that last is. And some of this you've seen firsthand, how this type of stuff is really stuff they're applying.
I'm sorry.
What the hell are you talking about?
I was waiting for you. I thought you were saying some more.
I don't even know what that meant. Bring it in. We got a guest with us. Bring it in. Welcome to Golf Tips, and it's Dustan Lang. It fit. It fit. All 3.
Ready to go. You go deep.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna putt and hook left. Did you get the lip ready? I'm gonna kill you next week. No handshake. No handshake.